On the storm-lashed shores of Norway, the village of Hafrsfjord stirred with a tense energy. The air was thick with the salt of the sea and the whispers of an impending doom. For weeks, strange sightings and unsettling omens had plagued the fjord. Shadows moving under the waves, eerie howls echoing through the night, and once proud fishing boats returning with hulls shattered and crews missing. The chieftain, Eirik Ironbeard, knew that these were not ordinary threats. These were the workings of mythical monsters, long believed to dwell in the deepest, darkest corners of the world. Eirik gathered his finest warriors, the best the village had to offer. Among them were his son, Leif the Swift, known for his unmatched agility and cunning, Astrid the Fierce, a shield maiden whose valor was legendary, and Bjorn the Bear, a hulking figure whose strength was said to rival that of the gods. They stood in the great hall, its wooden walls adorned with shields and tapestries depicting their ancestors' glorious battles. "We cannot let these creatures take our land and our people," Eirik declared, his voice resonating with a blend of authority and determination. "We will fight, as our forefathers did, and we will drive these abominations back into the abyss from which they came." The warriors roared in agreement, their spirits ignited by Eirik's words. Preparations were swift, swords were sharpened, armor was donned, and prayers were offered to Odin, Thor, and Freyja. The night before the battle, the village was eerily silent, each soul deep in contemplation, knowing that the dawn might bring their end. As the first light of morning crept over the horizon, the warriors of Hafrsfjord marched towards the shore, where the sea churned with an unnatural fury. The sky was overcast, heavy with storm clouds, and a chill wind howled through the fjord. They could see the creatures now, massive, grotesque beings that defied the very laws of nature. There were serpents with eyes like burning coals, their bodies winding and undulating beneath the waves. Giant sea dragons, their scales shimmering with an otherworldly light, lurked just beneath the surface. And from the cliffs above, harpies with wings like torn sails screeched and dove, their talons ready to rend flesh from bone. Eirik raised his sword, its blade catching the faint rays of the sun. "For Hafrsfjord!" he cried, and the warriors charged, their battle cries melding into a thunderous roar that echoed across the fjord. The clash was immediate and violent. Life darted between the legs of a towering sea dragon, slashing at its vulnerable underbelly. Astrid stood her ground against a trio of harpies, her shield deflecting their savage strikes as her axe found its mark time and again. Bjorn, with a mighty roar, grappled with a serpent, his immense strength holding its snapping jaws at bay as he drove his sword deep into its throat. Eirik fought with the ferocity of a man possessed, his blade a blur as it cut through the thick, scaly hide of the monsters. But despite their valor, the creatures seemed endless, their numbers overwhelming. Just as despair began to creep into the hearts of the warriors, a horn sounded from the cliffs above. The villagers, led by the wise old seer, Ingrid, had come to their aid. Ingrid raised her staff, its tip glowing with a mystical light. "We have the blessings of the gods," she cried. "Fight with all your might, and we will prevail." With renewed vigor, the warriors redoubled their efforts. The villagers rained arrows and hurled spears down upon the monsters, their accuracy honed by years of hunting in the harsh wilderness. Ingrid chanted ancient incantations, summoning the elements to their aid. Lightning crackled through the air, striking the creatures with divine fury. The sea itself seemed to rise against the monsters, waves crashing down with the force of Thor's hammer. Slowly but surely, the tide of battle turned. The creatures, once so formidable, began to falter under the relentless assault. One by one, they fell, their monstrous forms dissolving into mist and shadow. As the last serpent writhed and sank beneath the waves, a cheer went up from the warriors and villagers alike. Eirik, bloodied but unbowed, stood at the water's edge, his sword still clutched in his hand. He turned to his warriors, pride swelling in his chest. We have done what many thought impossible. We have defended our home, our families, and our way of life. Let this day be remembered in song and story, for we are the warriors of Hafrsfjord, and we fear no foe, mortal or mythical.
The survivors raised their weapons in salute, their voices ringing out in triumph. The battle was won, but the legend of their bravery would live on, inspiring generations to come. In the end, it was not just their strength or skill that had secured their victory, but their unbreakable spirit and the unity of their people, standing together against the darkness.